All right, we're live now. We're live now. What's up, family? This is your brother Khalid Muhammad and my co-host, Brother Winfred X. We also have two other brothers on here, our brother Kevin and Naiji. Now, again, most important thing that we always do. He did it. We're going live at this point. This is not the day that the actual podcast actually begins. This is like a pre-launch. We probably do this every week until as we drum up the support, get people to really know where to go. At the end of the day, you really want to go to at Meet the FOI podcast. That's the actual page you want to go to because that's where we'll be launching everything from. We all have our individual pages, which we're trying to link in right now so people can check us out on that end. But the number one goal right now is to bring that awareness to people so they know what we're doing and how we're doing and why. At the end of the day, too, we always open it up a certain way. Since this is going to be recorded at the end, we'll be able to replay this. The main focus is I always get a greetings of Assalamu alaikum, which means peace be unto you. And at the end of the day, when we say that to you, we want peace for you just like we want for ourselves. We want for our brother that which we want for ourselves. Definitely, when we say it, we mean it. My brother, he always opens up with prayer. He did on the opposite end. So we technically already done that. So we got that in motion because we always do things. We open up in prayer because you know what? We pray that God gives us the right kind of words and the right kind of spirit to convey the right kind of message, and that the individuals that may need to see this at the time they see it are able to see it and affect some kind of change in their life. That's the bottom line with that. Again, the podcast is not about being preachy. It's just a dialogue, a conversation, a communication with another brother, and letting you get an opportunity to kind of look to that person's world and our world, and to understand what you need to do with a next young person or person that's got out of prison or whomever is going through some type of issues. But I'm gonna let my co-host take it the rest of the way on this, so he can go ahead and do his thing that he does, and then we'll introduce Brother Naidi and Kevin.
All right, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah. Muhammad is his messenger and exalted Christ. And I further bear witness that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is the extension of the Son of Man. I would like to greet every brother and sister with the greeting words of peace, which we say in the Arabic language, because the Arabic language is the original language of the black man and woman. A lot of time people get that misconstrued, thinking that because we saying Assalamu alaikum, we're just not accustomed to that. It's foreign to us now because we've been taken away from that, and everything that has, been original, we've been stripped from that. So anytime we say Assalamu alaikum, it's not saying, oh, you trying to be like a Muslim, the Muslims are the Arabs. No, the original black man is the God. He comes first. Nothing came before him. So we just don't understand that. We just didn't know that in the black woman as well. So the more knowledge we understand about ourselves, that self-knowledge, the more we'll be able to maneuver in dialogue with one another and open up and be able to communicate properly. So I just wanted to open up with that, man. I just want to say that I am Brother Winfred X. I'm honored to be a part of this this podcast, Meet the FOI podcast. I am the co-host to my brother Khalid Muhammad. This is just like a prelude, like he said. The original launch is going to be Saturday, at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. But what this consists of, Meet the FOI podcast, man, is this was right on time, man. My brother said that he had been watching me on his own and kind of following me or whatnot. But, I was able to write my own book, Determine the Change. So coming from the streets, coming from, being affiliated, in a blood gang and going to the penitentiary and, just all that, man, is came home and still got into a little riff-raffs or whatnot. But at the same time, I was able to find something. I was able to find the life-giving teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, guided and taught by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan while I was in prison, man. So it's nothing soft about being a God-fearing man. I say that all the time to a lot of brothers and sisters. Don't be afraid, or don't ever think because you're young or you got time to do a bid. Like I was just telling my brother Kevin, young man, just letting them know, man, don't ever think because you young you have time. That ain't how God works. The quicker that you can catch on to understanding the reality of yourself and knowing that God is in you, not no spook God. I ain't talking about some God that's outside of yourself, a mystery where we've been all taught before that, oh, Jesus Christ is our Lord and Savior, but we don't, we hear that, but we don't really ever know what that really mean though. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? We don't really know how to put that together, especially when you walk out your house and you see gangs and you're a part of this gang and you learning that them dudes down the block, that's who we into it with. But your mom and your dad and them, they really just trying to find somewhere to stay. They just trying to find you some shelters, find you some food, put some clothes on your back. And then here it is, you starting to learn about who's your enemy, and you making these dudes down the street because they got on blue or they got on red or they got on a different color, they from a different block, and say, oh, that's my enemy right there. And like I was saying before we got live, man, this is not a video game. You can't put no cheat code in and say, oh, I got 100 men. If I die, you just keep going. No, one life, that's it. You feel me? We got so many homies that we know that never be able to see 25. You feel me? You know what I mean? And like I was telling the brother, I went to prison at 19 years old. I went to the feds at 19 and did 15 flat. So people thinking they gonna come in, thinking you going home. I've seen brothers come in and go home in a pine box. How your family gonna take that, man? So this is, this is groundbreaking. What we're doing right here is yes, this is the F.O.I, but there's different levels to being an F.O.I. So we're extending our teachings from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, a man who's in our midst, man, who's showing us how to be real men. Don't never be embarrassed because you don't know how to do something as a man. That's what we're here for. We're here to learn. We're here to not to laugh and point fingers or be embarrassed because I don't know how to do this as a man. I'm 41 years old, and it's a lot of things that I went through in prison that now that I'm home, I can see how certain things I'm behind on. Can't let that discourage you from still being able to live and still being able to strive. You just got to find your gift and what you gifted in, and you got to get it to the world, man. But we here, man. Let's get it on.
Now we got Kevin on here. Kevin and IG and Kevin's mother, they all came to Mosque. We're here in Dallas, so they came to Mosque number 48. That's right down 24th and Martin Luther King Drive in Dallas. And they came, whatever motivated them to come. But once they got there, they heard that message, and the whole family said, you know what? This is the direction we want to go in. Now, that don't happen for everybody, right? It's whatever it is that drove them there, whatever it is that inspired them to be there. It's in all of us, right? Because at some point in our life, we get tired of dealing with the nonsense and we're trying to do something else. We're not 100% sure what's going to work, but once we start going in those directions, we start feeling what's working, then it starts making sense. So I'm gonna let Brother Kevin talk about, his life prior to coming to Dallas. He's not originally from here, but kind of break down, Kevin, man, introduce yourself, kind of break down, what it is about, your life, what got you here and all that.
Well, I'm Brother Kevin. What got me here, what got me, you turn your mic off, Well, what got me here is, I can say that during my lifetime, like I seen a lot of my friends go to jail, well, closest friends, a lot of brothers, pass away and stuff like that. And I just feel like as me being a black brother, a black man, I feel like I could be able to change something or get them a better word, a better way to want to look at life different or appreciate life in different ways. Even though sometimes I even messed up, the life I live, but I want time for a change. Then so that's why I came to the mosque. I want to change and give back and make sure I can teach other people about getting communities and having black-owned businesses and stuff like that. And just being uplifting for other people.
So from the area that you come from, to kind of break down to me like a typical just a typical environment, a typical situation, because it was something in that.
Like in Vegas, like it's like gang banging, like everybody gang bang out there. Everybody want to be top dog, who the hardest person, who gonna be like in Vegas, like basically in Vegas, it's just like to me, out there, it's either prison or death. Like if you're in the streetwise, if you're living out there in the streetwise, it's either prison or death. Like it's just gang banging. That's all everybody care about is gang banging. Nobody want to take care of their family or nothing like that. We was never taught that. Me moving to Dallas, I had to learn that. See, me being in Vegas, I was never taught that it's bigger life is bigger to other stuff. I was taught that, oh yeah, like okay, you see him over there or you see what Flaky got on, okay, yeah, that's cool. Selling drugs, everything like that's what we was taught back in Vegas. We was never taught how to be a man and learn more things about what's really going on in life. We was just always taught how to be negative and be wrong.
Now let me say this real quick. Let me chime in. I want y'all to understand what the brother just said. He said from Vegas, right? So the common thing when we all hear Vegas that are not from that place, we all hear we thinking gambling, we thinking resorts, we thinking, you know, going to have a vacation, going to have a good time and those types of things. But the brother just said, it's either jail or prison. I mean, prison or death. You feel me? So it's like where he coming from. So don't think because he's saying Vegas. Vegas is all about, just going to have a great time and relaxing and, resorts and all that. No, it can get real. It's everywhere. That mentality of gang banging, that mentality of being a part of a gang, it's infested. It's all over the United States. You can't escape this. So, that was very important.
Even like women out there too. Like another thing about Vegas too, it's a lot of prostitution going on. A lot of men, prostituting on women and stuff like that. So, but
so when that, so with that coming here, what was like your number one thing in your mind that you were thinking about? Just not even thinking about the mosque, but just thinking about your personal life. What made you realize, man, I gotta do something, man. What was that point? What was that?
my mom, I can say my mom. I can say I wanted to do a change for my mom because even moving to Dallas. Like my mom moved me to Dallas. She wanted to change for me a better life. She seen where it was going to be taking me down the road if I was staying in Vegas.
Okay.
So, like I said, like even moving to Dallas, like it feels good sometimes to go somewhere. You ain't got to watch your back or you feel like somebody watching you or That's all. That's why I like the environment. I like what's going on. So it's different.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do real quick, I think I'm gonna hit this go live, hit Facebook, See, normally we're gonna be doing everything through StreamYard. We just wanted to do it on Facebook at least to let people know, hey, we'll just go to, over here and check it out on this end. So I'm gonna go on live real quick. 1 second. I think it'll let me in. It wants me to add a title. And again, this wasn't the actual show, but this is going to give us an opportunity to talk with you guys and then begin to build that process. We're going to edit some of this into the actual shows. So I know right now I'm live on the actual Facebook side on our personal page. So the whole intent is to get people over to at Meet the FOI podcast, which to the page that you guys are on right there. So I'm gonna be on here. So again, before we go to 9G, again, the whole purpose of Meet the FOI podcast really is designed to help people understand FOI. Mud, right? We were involved in the same field, right? We dealing with the same issues, right? And then what we're trying to do is get brothers more comfortable with brothers that's in the nation and say, hey, man, brother, help me figure this out. We ain't trying to knock you over the head and make you join the nation. Nobody knocked you over the head, Kevin. You came. Nobody even knew you were coming. You know what I'm saying? And so it's about having people to change their mind about where they're at. They already have options. They know if they go this way, this is going to happen. They know if they go this way, they have more opportunity to take their life on another path. So the objective of Meet the FOI was really designed to do that. So if anybody's on Facebook, you run over to at Meet the FOI podcast, the actual page. This is where we're at on StreamYard. But I brought this up because I wanted people at least to know where we're actually at. It's like the personal page for the other thing, but if you go there, you'll see that. But now we have two brothers in there that we're kind of interviewing, even though this is just like the pre-launch. One is 19. 19, how old are you?
20.
And another brother is 20. They both moved here to Dallas. They're recent recently moving here to Dallas, and basically it's really about changing their life, right? Trying to get on another path. Brother Kevin, which is one of the brothers, he was a former affiliated with Bloods. Brother's 19 years old. Mom got him all up here, man. So now he's trying to build himself up. He ended up coming out to the mosque, mosque number 48, on 24th and Martin Luther King Drive. And he just showed up, him and his mom and Nige, his friend and everything. And you can tell in their face, you can tell in their communication, they're trying to do something. Like a lot of our brothers, they just don't know where to go. And fortunately, that mosque was there for them to go there. But just imagine a brother who don't even know where he can go or where he shouldn't go. They just gonna be stuck, man. And especially if they got like Brother Kevin had mentioned a thing while we were talking to him, that he was just being programmed in his environment just to be basically a thug. That's it. So in his mind, that's what he understood. And of course, when you're younger, that's what you understand. That's what you go with.
Right.
So at the end of the day, that was his environment. So when we do Meet the F.O.I podcast, it's designed to reach out to different brothers who are affiliated with different street organizations, those who formerly affiliated, as well as those who are in the F.O.I who were a part of that life, to bring that dialogue together. So because at the end of the day, it's all about self-improvement.
That's right.
Self-improvement is the number one thing. I can't do business with you if you're not focused on self-improvement. I can't progress with you if you're not talking about self-improvement, personal self-improvement, self. That's the operative word, self. And if you can't atone for the things you've done, then that means you don't care about what you did in the past. That's not good either. You have to be able to atone so you understand and have more empathy for the people that you may have impacted, right? So that you have a better connection to them and you can put yourself on the right path, because you still owe for what you did, regardless. No matter what good you start doing now, you got to always remember, atone for the things you've done, the relationships you've ruined, or the ones that you've negatively impacted, even if you didn't know you did that. So that's what it's about. That. But Kevin spoke. Now we want to hear Nige. Now I'm gonna let Nige. Now you guys don't hear this other conversation, so you might want to step over at Meet the FOI podcast so you can actually hear the conversation. Go ahead, big brother Nige.
How y'all doing? I'm Brother Nige.
Right.
I turn the thing down like I did. You gotta turn the volume. Turn the volume down. Yeah, it's good. All right, yeah. Y'all still hear me?
Yeah, we hear you good, homie.
Yeah, but I'm Brother Nige. I'm originally from California. I moved to Vegas. I've been back and forth to Vegas a lot. But I can say, like, what wanted me to change is my past. I'm affiliated with a gang too. I'm from Pyru. Well, was from Pyru. And, I lost a lot of friends. My mom, I was never really with my family like that. My dad, he was always in and out of jail. My mom, she was always with different dudes, fighting. He put his hands on her. Then me and my brothers and them having to fight him. And then he running off. And, so it all just came back to us. So, like, I always had to be, me or my brothers always had to be the mans of the house. And, like, after a while, things just started getting a little harder. All my brothers was gangbangers. My older sister, she was doing stuff that I don't really want to speak on. She had got pregnant, then she had left. So after that, it was just really me and my brother, and then he started doing drugs. So then, like, I really just got left on my own. So then from there on, I was just really, like, in California, just really gang banging extra harder because I didn't have no family, or I felt like nobody was really with me for real. So after, like, from being out there for a minute, I was really with the wrong crowd. Like, I was doing stuff I don't want to speak on, which led to me getting shot. And I was just in the hospital, just thinking about my life from there, thinking like I know I need to change, but I don't know when I want to change. I know I have to change though. That's what I was thinking. But Kevin and his mom, they was calling me today because I've been knew them because I was back and forth from Las Vegas to California. They was calling me every day, checking on me, telling me that I need to come back to Vegas because they seen a lot of trouble out there. So then when I ended up going to Vegas, we were just out there for a little bit, and it's like Brother Kevin was saying, it's no different in Vegas. Was just like how it is in California. we were just getting in more trouble out there. So I found myself going to jail out there again. And, it's just like, even with Kevin passed, I was really with Kevin most of my life, like I didn't really get to hear Kevin speak about his uncle and his father, but I looked up to them too, and like they're no longer around. But yeah, it was just like it was always been hard for us, it's like all the father figures or older figures we had, is like they always like disappeared, or they couldn't really be around fully. So it's like we always had to be the man for the house, or try to step up and be the man or something like that.
Now think about this, brother. Now, brother Winfrey. Now think about this. Now we have 4 black men sitting in this room. 4. We all relate to what he just said.
That's right.
There's no. We don't need to be caseworkers. We don't need to be. We don't need to go to school for this. We already went to school for this, and it's uncomfortable, right? The stuff you don't want to speak on, that's uncomfortable. When I was growing up, it was like, man, I mean, I had to see things, my mother did. I had to see things that was happening around me, man. And it is hard. It hurts, man. That hurts because you can't understand it. You can't get it. It don't make sense. And it does make you harder because now you have to turn so much of yourself off when you see the closest person you love right there being impacted. I used to have to sit in the room in the dark and watch my mother get beat. The dude was like literally like, I don't know if he was playing Jedi mind tricks or whatever, but he beat her like it was nobody's business. And all I can do was just sit there and look at it because I didn't even understand what was going on. You know what I'm saying? And so you see that, and as you get older, because you don't have a consistent male figure that demonstrates to you what makes sense and what does not make sense, you go off of what you know, right? So, imagine you having kids out here now. Imagine you still don't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? And it's the funny thing is between you and Kevin, it's always interesting is the fact that sometimes our the family we don't have, we actually have to get that family outside of our home. It has to end up coming from somewhere else. And that ends up being the family that's our lifeline. Because both of you are each other's lifeline at this point, right? And God put you guys there at a point right now to do some things. Now that you're here, 2 different places that you came from. The pain that you have, Nige, that's a cool name too, brother, by the way. But the from where you came from, what's in you has to come out though.
Mm-hmm.
Minus things that, you know what I'm saying? But the pain has to come out because it's the pain that's molding you. It's the actual pain that's making you more sensitive, especially as you start getting knowledge, especially when that light start coming on. Now you're starting to understand where that pain really comes from and why that pain. Then you start questioning, why does this pain even have to exist?
Mm-hmm.
Now you start to think about other brothers that's younger than you. Because you can go through the neighborhood right now and look at some younger brothers and say, man, I bet you he going through this. I bet you he going through that. I bet you he going through this. Dang, what can I do? So when you and Kevin came to Dallas, knowing that this is going to be like a new start for you guys, in your mind, what was some of your, just keep it real, man. What was some of your initial thoughts when you got here? Just, you ain't got to don't sugarcoat nothing. Just keep it real, in the sense of your real feelings about that. What was some of your initial thoughts?
Some thoughts like about when we first moved out here. I'm like, so because you always when you adapt to a certain situation, you get used to it. So it was hard for me to break out of being adapted, being adapted to living a Vegas life, So I had to treat Dallas. This is a new city that I don't gotta live like how I was living in Vegas, Even I could just say this. I just put myself in a situation. I could say a few days ago. I actually went and sat down in Dallas jail But the only reason why that I was saying Dallas was very jail because that I went back to trying to live my own ways or live how I used to live. And that's what that's God not me. That's what I didn't come out here for. I didn't come out here to live a life like that. I didn't come out here to do the old things I was doing in Las Vegas. But I transaction doing something like that and put myself in a situation. That was a real wake up call for me too. And it's just like, because I don't want myself in the future going down doing 10 years in prison. No, that's not what I want to be. I want to be able to be here with my family, be able to take care of my brothers and sisters, be able to teach other black men how to themselves and what they don't got to go through, or don't let certain stuff affect them in their life because what they go through. Just uplift more black men, other black men myself.
So Winfrey, what does this sound like to you?
I mean, like you said, we all can relate. We can all relate to. This is a language that we saturated in. I heard Najee say something that was so important. He said that when he got shot, he knew that he had to change. He said he didn't know when, but he said he knew he had to change. Now let me expound on that, because we have to understand that. I know a lot of times we don't like to. It's always cliche to say, well, we already know we've been through slavery. We already know we've been through these types of things, but we have to understand the reality of cause and effect. And what I mean by the reality of cause and effect, we find ourselves getting into it. We find ourselves selling dope. We find ourselves, like the brother said, it's things that he don't want to talk about, right? Now, that's an effect, but what is the cause to that? It's a cause to all of that. You feel me? Not having your parents, not having, being undeveloped. It's a bigger cause to that. And so coming into the Nation of Islam, coming into Meet the FOI podcast, this is where we get into the root of these things, because you have what you call a branch knowledge and you have a root knowledge. We can't turn the page just on a branch knowledge. We have to go all the way to the root and get to the root of it and say, man, you know what? Why am I like this? You feel me? For me, it took 15 years in a federal penitentiary. For the brother right here, the brother got shot. It didn't take a rocket scientist to say that, damn, this ain't supposed to happen. You have a built-in truth in yourself. The brother said, man, I got to change. Now, that's the reality of your existence. That's you. That's who you really are. That's the God speaking to you saying, this ain't good. We know something has to change. The brother said, I don't know the time in the change, but that's your resurrection. See, God always give us mercy. God always show us something before. Warning always come before destruction. See, in the warning is also the mercy. The mercy is in the warning. Brother got shot. Okay. Now God is saying, all right, that's the warning. See, a lot of times, especially when we young, man, we can get shot, we can survive that. Sometimes it turn us up even more, because now we saying, oh yeah, I didn't got hit before. We talk about it and we glorify that. Yeah, I've been shot before, this and that, and it turn us up. But that's not what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to teach us. It's supposed to give us a warning and give us the wisdom to say, hold on, wait a minute. What we doing right now, brother Najee is 20, brother Kevin is 19. This is a blessing, man. I need y'all to really, really understand how important this is. This is a blessing, because you brothers can be anywhere right now. Man, I ain't got time for that. Or, man, I got to go do this, or I got to go do that. But it's something in you that said, you know what? Let me set up my camera. Let me set up my stream. And I want to be able to dialogue with these brothers. I don't know, y'all. This is my first time meeting you brothers. I'm in Dallas. We all here. You know what I mean? And I heard the brother say that, you know, from Cali to Vegas, same thing going on. Brother Najee said, man, same thing that was happening in Cali, it's the same thing happening in Vegas. Well, let me tell you something. It's the mindset. The same thing that's happening in Cali, the same thing happening in Vegas can be the same thing happening in Dallas with the mindset.
Right.
You feel me? So it's the mindset that has to switch, because that same type of activity that's in Vegas, oh, you can find it in Dallas. It's some spots down here that's jumping too. You got hounds down here, you got Crips down here, you got different sets, you got people. It's bracking down here too. You know what I'm saying? It's getting it on, but it has to be a switch in you. That's what's going to turn your whole world around, is the mind. The greatest thing that God ever created is the mind that he put inside of the human being.
Right.
There's nothing more greater than that. And I always like to tell a lot of the young brothers this as well. Drugs is an addiction. We know we can be popping mollies, we can be taking Percocets, we can be smoking weed, we can be doing all these types of things. I'm not the judge, but at the same time, just as an addiction is a drug, is the music. We gotta understand. I understand we like to listen to the drill music. I like it too. I love drill music, man. But at the same time, it's an unconscious recorder in our mind that we hearing this over and over and over and over again, and it's programming you without you even being conscious of that. You can be listening to your favorite drill music or your favorite rapper or whatever, and it's a bigger hand that's orchestrating all of this. It's an unseen hand that's orchestrating these things, and that's what me and my brother Shinobi, that's our job, to point that out to you youngsters. It's our job to let you know, hey, look, it ain't just music. It ain't just, no, because think about this. You don't see people losing their life in country music
at all.
You don't see people losing their life in R&B music. You don't see people losing their life in rock metal music and all these types of things. Who's losing their life? Hip hop. Hip hop. That's right. Rap music. We're losing our life. You don't ever hear about there's no country police. They created hip hop police. This is something that was literally created. Hip hop police. So you can't tell me that that's not a target. It's strategized. So what we do at Meet the F.O.I podcast, it is imperative, meaning that it is so important that we point that out. We have to point that out, man. As Black men, our testimonies and our experiences of the things that we've been through, and we still here. Hey, listen, the Black man is God. Don't ever think that he's not. I don't care what your condition is, but what's inside of you, like the brother said, it has to come out. It's pain. But let me tell you something. All pain is not punishment.
Right.
All pain is not punishment. Pain is growth. So in order to grow you got to feel something. God don't care nothing about our emotions. That's one thing that we have to understand too in our intelligence. God ain't tripping on, how you feel in your emotions. God is an intelligent God. He's a supreme being. So that intelligence that's inside of us, that's what we have to pay attention to.
Right.
We have to be able to pay attention to that, because let me tell you something. I don't care what's going on. Let's take this for an example. Let's look at Young Thug, what he going through. I hate that for Thugger, man. I hate that for Thug.
Man.
But at the same time, watch this. We can make videos. Everybody got a gun in the video. Everybody doing this. Everybody doing that on the video. Everybody, oh yeah, we chunking it up. We hitting them up. We throwing our setup. We doing all this. We tattooed up. We doing this. It's unconsciously creating a monster.
Right.
It's unconsciously creating a monster. But when it's time for shit to hit the fan, we don't know what Gunna did. It's speculations out there. He didn't did what he did. You got other dudes copping pleas and doing what they doing and coming for, yeah, I'm gonna corroborate this and that. See, we so quick to look at each other and say, hold it, I'm ready to get this nigga. But then the white man right here control all of it. When it come to him, we scared. Oh, yes, sir. No, I'm ready to take the plea. Yes, sir. Yes, I'm gonna cooperate. Yes, sir. This and that.
Right.
So we have a man in our midst named the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan. That man is a part. That's who saved my life. Me coming into the Nation of Islam, I came into that when I was in the penitentiary. I went to the penitentiary at 19 in the feds at 19 years old. Around like 26, 25, 26 is when I started studying the Nation of Islam in prison. When I started studying that, I had all the time because I was in prison. I had time to sit back and drink coffee and study for 3 and 4 hours. But you don't have that type of time out here in the world. You got to get a job. You have to pay bills. You have to find transportation. You have to make sure your family good. It's a lot of things that you have to do out here. So you don't have that type of time in there. Right. So I applaud both of you youngsters, man. I applaud both of y'all for being right here at this time right now, man. And this ain't gonna be the last meeting that we have, or I'm seeing y'all. Y'all gonna get to see. I'm gonna definitely meet both of y'all in person because we in the same city. You feel me? You know what I mean? So it's up from here, man. You know, but yeah, I don't want y'all to take this, let it go in one ear and go out the other, and then you right back doing whatever you was doing. And I'm not saying that you're gonna be a saint. I'm not saying that you're gonna be perfect, because I'm not. You still gonna have shortcomings. You're gonna always be able to find something in your life that you can make better. Don't trip on that. You feel me? But the whole meat of this thing is, if you knowing, we already know what gangbanging gonna do. We already know where it's gonna lead. It's gonna either lead you to jail, like the brother Kevin said, or it's gonna lead you to an early grave. Right now, all of us can throw our hands up and say, so far, so good. We still here. We still breathing. As long as you're breathing, you got action, bro. You got action to be able to be whatever you want to be.
Arms and everything.
That's right.
10 toes around. 10 toes
exactly. Around. We got all our faculties. We got everything, bro. You know what I mean? So a lot of time we have to look at the small things, because a lot of time we just looking at the big scale of things, and it's the small things that we should be appreciative of. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, we gonna be good.
Yeah, I had to learn that too. I had to learn that we gotta appreciate what we got already. You know, we can't expect what's more in the outside world. We can't expect because the person on Instagram got this. We expect we got it.
That's a fact.
So we just got, you know. And another thing I had to learn too, like it's one thing at a time. You gotta take one step at a time.
That's right.
Can't be saying, oh, I'm gonna buy a car, I'm gonna get a place, I'm gonna get this all at one time. That's frustrating. You'll have your mind going crazy. I'm gonna have to do all this at one time.
Right.
So I'm just taking one thing at a time. I'm really thankful to have y'all, even as older men, to come, because that's what we need. And you know, because we lost our father figure, so it makes us feel uplifting when we have somebody older than us that's there with us, like, you know.
Brother, I see myself in you so much, man. I see myself in you so much.
A lot of this goes back to, remember what I was saying, is that it's self-improvement, but it's also accountability or atonement, because we do this primarily because we understand what we have done, and we also understand the pain that's why all pain is not a bad thing, because it made us into the type of human beings at this point where we can make enough sense to ourselves to go out there and create something to reach other brothers, right? It makes us understand that everything that we did to us, we always, talk about it, me and Brother Wimper, we say, man, we still alive. You know what I'm saying? So, it makes you think you're on borrowed time or something, but that's not. God has you where he has you for a reason. But in order for God to get to you, he has to use us. He has to use other men, other women, other people in your life, right? And they have to be sincere. That's the thing. because when a brother has not really, or any person has not had someone consistent, they're waiting for that person to fade away on the exit door left, to do that U-turn. And so if you are atoning, like all of us are, even when you get the bow town, we're atoning. That it's two things happening when you see your brothers in the nation.
Come on now.
First thing you see is that they've accepted the reality that they need to do something for themselves. They need to improve upon themselves. They need to absorb this. The second thing is that at the same time they're working on themselves, literally, they're obligated to go help others. They're not even perfect. We're not perfect. So at the same time, we can't go join the nation, go sit in a little cubby hole somewhere and be like, I'm working on myself. I'm working on myself. We don't have the luxury of that, right? The time that God has given us, basically, really, it's like, hey, you should have got it right the first time. But you didn't. Now you're going to work double time. You're going to handle yourself, to make yourself the proper example, and make sure you're not misguiding people and misleading people and doing all that. And on the flip side of that, you're going to go pull those persons up, understand where they're coming from, have the empathy, have the understanding and knowledge to be able to get to them and lift them. Because my goal with you brothers, at the age that you at, before the spring, summertime, when we do take the podcast to the street, it's going to be brothers just like you who are going to be, man, you guys, have your suit on, you're going to be suited and booted, you know what I'm saying? They're going to be like, wow, where you brothers come from? Like, yeah, man. But your story is going to hit them brothers.
Man.
Because even though they'll hear me and even though they'll hear Wimpy, they really going to hear you because you're right there with them. Now they trying to figure out how in the world did you even get your mind to even say, because that's what it's all about. It's about a made-up mind. They're going to wonder, how did you make up your mind at this age? Because they'll look at you. They're going to be like, how did you do that? Older people look and say, how did you make up your mind like that? To decide, this is where I want to go. And this is what I want to do. And then stay consistent with it. Now, that consistency, you'll be able to tell them, look, I'm at where I'm at right now. But as I've learned from my older brothers, it's an everyday struggle. Between the day and the night. I'm constantly in the dawn until I pull myself all the way into the light. And that takes a long time, right? The minister, before around 75, 76, the minister had fell out of the nation. And he fell away from the teachings. He did all that because at that point, the nation had failed. Now, before that, Farrakhan before that was still a rocker. You know what I'm saying? He still was a heavy. But even with someone at that height and that level, to go all the way back down, all the way back, he's putting braids in his head. He was drinking, he was doing all that. So think about that. Just because somebody is all the way up here in your mind, they're at this level, don't let that rock your world if they go like this. Because they ain't dead yet. Now, if they were dead, then this whole other story. Yeah. But as long as there's no period at the end of that story, they can come back up, and like he did. So that's the same fail. That's the same man that ended up doing the Million Man March. They ended up doing all these other things. They end up challenging the government of the United States of America, defending the rights of people in general, not just black people, but people in general. Same man of travel around the world that's being received and accepted by people around the world. The same man that drew us, you, me, that drew us. That's us. His life is our example. So for you, you could do things at 20, Najee at 20, and you, Kevin, at 19. In 2 years' time, you can be amazed at what you end up accomplishing.
Man,
I guarantee you this much. I'm not going to go anywhere, God willing. I mean, I'm not going to fall off a cliff. I'm not going to do a U-turn. You brothers motivate me to stay there, because if I even started thinking that way, I have something to think about and say, no, I got this MeetTheFOI podcast. I got these brothers. I can't let them down, because I know in my mind, I would be doing you a disservice. But what I am going to do with you two is push you, because you have the potential to do something that you can't even see right now. And then
And
once you start, go ahead, bro.
I feel like that's what I need. I need that, that push, that all the way push, that motivate, that just keep me on the right track, to keep me balanced out. But it's myself that it starts, but I just need that push to even be there more to support.
Let me say this. Let me say this, man. Man, I don't know. Y'all haven't been here long in Dallas or whatever, but I had a son, man. When I went to prison, my son wasn't even born yet. The mother of my child, she was 7 months pregnant. I was 19 when I went to the feds, and she was 7 months pregnant, right? 15 years. She have a little boy. I have a son. Through the course of my time, I can count on both hands how many times I've seen him. So by me being absent, well, I'm doing time in prison. My son, she's doing the best that she can. My son is growing up, in the street, He's a reflection of what he's around. I'm affiliated with a blood gang in the street. And through the course of time, he becomes a Crip. You feel me? So it's like, but during my time in prison, you just can't, you can't just cut gang banging off. It's when you go to prison, you be on count. It's what they call you on count. You on count and everything.
Yeah. So
it's like it's protocol, it's procedures that you have to go through to get out, to let what I'm saying. You got two of the top shot callers in where I was at. One was from Pasadena Lane from PDL, and another guy was from 415 East Dallas down here. Those were the two guys that was controlling the whole yard. Now the guy that was from 415, that was my big homie. You know what I'm saying? And I had to tell him, bro, like I did 14 months in the hole when I was in prison. 14 months straight. I'm in the hole. But that was the time that allowed me to really just do some reflecting. And I was like, yo, man, I ain't trying to, at that time, my son was like 2 years old. I was like 21. I had probably 2 years in when I did 14 months in the hole. But I was knowing then, I was like, man, I can't, I have a son that's 2. So like when I get back home, even though I still had a long time to do, I was like, man, I don't want my old self. I don't want to face my old self and my son, when I get home. So I got to change now. I can't wait to try to do it once I get out. I got to switch that mindset right now. And so that's what when I got out the hole, I told my big homie, I'm like, bro, what I'm saying? I want to get off count. And he was like, what you mean? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, what I'm saying? I just can't, what I'm saying? I can't really, I like the homies. I love the homies, but at the same time, like, I got a mom, I got a dad, I got a son, I got family. You know what I mean? So I got other responsibilities. And the place I was at, it was rock and rolling. You know what I'm saying? You got to keep it, you got your strap, you know what I'm saying? You strapped up or whatever. And so through the proper procedure, through protocol, he was like, well, what you going to do now? So I was already kind of like studying with the Muslims or whatever, learning Arabic, learning how to pray, making salat and stuff like that. And so I was like, man, you know what? I'm just going to dip over here, man, and do something positive. Because really on the cool, when you go from the streets to the joint and you affiliated in the gang, you're not growing, man. You're doing the same thing. You can smoke weed in there. You can drink. You can make your own hooch. You can make liquor. I knew how to do all that. But it was like there was no growth. It wasn't nothing, you know what I mean? It wasn't nothing positive, nothing productive going on with myself. People still doing you know what I mean? So it's like, but through that time, bro, like seeing my son when I was in prison, as I'm seeing him grow, I could see the pain in his eyes. I could see him I could see the importance of having the him missing a father, me being his dad. I mean, my son, I'm watching him grow, like, you know, he looking just like me, you know, and I'm, you know, trying to talk to him and stuff, man. You know, as the years is going, I come home, man. I come home in 2015. I was locked up from 2000 to 2015. I come home at 2015. My son was 15 years old. He was happy. Man, my dad is here, you know. Man, I'm so excited. I'm so happy. But I'm starting from nothing. I'm starting from scratch. I'm starting from nothing. I got to come back from the ground all the way up. So he heard stories. Oh, Dad, I know you was doing this. You and your crew, y'all was getting money. Y'all was doing this. Y'all was doing that. And so I'm steady trying to tell my son, like, yo, that's not my life no more. I'm not on that, you know, wooty woo ba bam. And so sometimes people can't understand it, because when you already saturated or you already shaped into something, and then you see somebody that's then change their life, first thing we think, oh, this nigga soft now. Oh man, you on some, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like, oh man, you ain't with it no more. Like, you know what I'm saying? But because as a child being undeveloped, you still don't understand the magnitude and the detriment of a dangerous game that we all playing. We're really playing a dangerous game. It's like, man, it's like tag the leader. It's like, man, once you get tagged, you out. That's it.
That's it.
Once they turn your water off, that's it. Once your water is turned off, bro, that's it. You feel me? And it's like you can see people close to you, or you heard news about so-and-so got killed or so-and-so this and that. You ain't seeing them no more. That's it. You ain't seeing them no more, man. Right. So trying to get that through my son, man, you know, was shaped in that life. And I always coming into those teachings, man, being in the nation, it taught me that more than telling somebody to do something right, you got to be able to show them with your actions. You can't just be saying, hey, do this right, and then they looking at you like, you trying to tell me to do it, but you ain't even doing it.
Right.
So how can a person change? A person ain't gonna never change if it monkey see, monkey do. That's it's always been that. Monkey see, monkey do. Dude, bring some weed around. You ain't smoking weed. What's going to end up happening? If you sitting around people smoking weed all day, in your mind, you might be like, I ain't going to do it. But eventually, you're going to see how people just chilling. You're going to be like, man, let me hit it, man. Let me see what's going on.
Yeah.
It's going to do that. So my whole thing is, when my son, when he seen that, I'm struggling. I come home. I get me a job or whatever. I get a job or whatever. And I'm working in warehouses. I'm making $12 an hour. You feel me? $12 an hour. My son like, damn, daddy, what's up? You know what I'm saying? When you going to get to the money? When you going to do this? When you going to do that? And I'm steady telling him, yo, listen, I can't just move like that like I used to. You know what I'm saying? He don't understand it. I can't move like that right now. I can't move like that right now. You feel me? And whatever I had, I don't care if when I got my check working these little jobs or whatever I had, man, I would just give him $50, $40. Man, that's all I got. Man, Daddy, you ain't got $200? No, I don't have that right now, son. I can't give you that right now. Oh, man. Well, you don't want the 50? Oh, no, I want the 50. All right, you going to take the 50. That's all I got right now, homie. But I always wanted to teach him right, bro. I never wanted to just tell my son to do the right thing without me doing it. So I went to work. I got up every day, went to work. He was still staying with his grandmama now. But I didn't know he was banging to the extent that he was, because I'm still trying to get myself together. I'm just getting out the penitentiary. I'm trying to get myself together. Come to find out, he started rapping. Oh, he starting to catch a buzz in the street right here in Dallas. Yellow Beezy was about to sign my son. My son ended up getting into it with some dudes, man. And I seen a video where my son was fighting on a video. And one dude was like, hey, man, when I seen the video, I took it to my pops and I took it to my mother. And I'm like, yo, this ain't good. My son whooping up on the dude. Kind of find out my son in the street, you know, people coming to me, letting me know, man, your son having a lot of money. He doing this, he doing that. So when I'm looking at y'all, that's what I'm saying. Y'all 19, 20. I'm seeing this. I'm working. I get a phone call at 3, 4 in the morning. Hey, man, you need to come out to the hospital. Your son been shot. I said, damn. I didn't panic or nothing. It wasn't no panic or, oh my God. It was more like a calm because it's like God was already leading me like you doing what you can. You showing him with your actions. You're not just telling him, but you showing him with your actions. I get out to the hospital. It's like 50 people out there. I mean, it's like 4 in the morning. It's like 50 people out. Just imagine we're at the hospital. It's 50 people out in the parking lot, people screaming, oh, this, oh, that, or woo, 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 and all these types of things, right? And I'm just praying, man. People looking at me, man, there go his daddy, you know, woo, woo. He make it out of surgery. He come out of surgery. He make it out. First thing when I see him, they let me say, well, you the dad? Yeah. I'm going into the, he come out of surgery. I go in the room. You know what I mean? He look, his face swole up, bro. I can't even really tell it's him. So I'm like, damn, you know, I'm trying to hold myself up, hold myself together. And I'm looking at him, you know what I'm saying? He's 19. He's Kevin age at this time. He's 19. Same year I was, same age I was when I went to the feds. Now my son, now what I stopped banging and, you know what I'm saying, in prison, trying to avoid this. Now I'm looking at my son. I'm looking at my old self. Now I'm looking at a younger version of myself laying up in this hospital bed. And when the doctor talked to me, the doctor pulled me to the side and say, he made it out of surgery, but he was struck and it's a 223 bullet that's lodged in his spine and we can't get it. And it paralyzed him from neck down. And so when I get that news, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Hit me like a ton of bricks. And I'm sitting there looking at this, I'm listening to this doctor, but it seemed like now I can't even hear the doctor no more. It's like, it just like, I just feel like I was about to faint. And I'm like, oh man. And doctor said, yeah, your son was shot 8 times. They hit him 8 times. And I'm like, damn. And I said, they was trying to kill him. Well, that happened in 2019. He was 19 years old. By the grace of God, he held on for 3 years. He just passed September the 13th. He passed September the 13th because he was paralyzed from neck down. He never had an opportunity to come home. He went to a rehab place. He was able to gain his voice back. They had to put a trach in his throat, man. Had him feeding through a tube. He was able to get off of that. He was getting his strength back. He was still paralyzed, living on a breathing machine for 3 years. And I had to build my relationship with my son in the last 3 of his years, just trying to talk to him and, you know, things he was telling me that he had to go through when I was in prison, that how he was having to see and experience things as a youngster. It was times I would cry just sitting there talking to my son. We crying together, man. I'm just like, man. But I say all that to say this to y'all. That don't have to be y'all. I don't want that to be y'all because I see y'all as my son. You know what I'm saying? I see y'all as my son. So, and I told my son before he passed, I told him, I said, because he always used to tell me, Dad, I'm gonna rap again. And he was making tracks. Even while he was in the bed, the people used to come to the engineer would come to the rehab place and allow him to make his music because his voice had got stronger and he got to the point where he could eat again. And he would call me and say, hey, Daddy, come bring me some food, man. And I would have to just sit there and feed him. We'll watch some on TV, watch movies, watch the Cowboys or whatever his little football team, my football team. We'll sit there and I would go and just sit there with him for like 3 or 4 hours and just chop it up with him, man. And just, I mean, you know.
I got a question. Your son named Winfrey?
Yes, sir. That's my son.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, they call him 10K.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes, sir. That was my son. That was my son. So, again, bro, when I see y'all, man, I don't do this for entertainment. I do this because I know God has something bigger for me.
Right.
And if God has something bigger for me, he got something bigger for y'all.
And that's where if you think about what everything he said, even the stuff that you said, everybody said everything. Imagine somebody that we're going to take this up, chop it up, push it out, even though it's a preview, it's a good one, because this is the first time we had someone of your age in it. We have to get more brothers that's around your age, more brothers who need that support, right? More brothers that we can help them eliminate the excuse that you ain't got nobody that's going to be there to help guide you and just this, that, and another. Because at the end of the day, this is the only reason me and Winfrey do it, man. We want to do, if we could do this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, no sleep, we would do it.
Yes, sir.
That was the price.
That's right.
Half the stuff we would probably say out of our mouth at that time would be crazy. To get some sleep. But we would do it because at the end of the day, we owe this, right? This is our obligation, right? And we're not monsters. You're not a monster. What's in you, you were made through the environment of this world to be and to act the way you act. At the root is God. That's at the root.
That's right.
God has to have you to, in order to come out of that, he has to make you aware of what it is so that you can push yourself further and further away from the thing that you don't like. Everything that you grew up with Nige, think about that. All the pain you have for everything you saw from your mother, your sister, I guarantee you that you don't like that. I guarantee you wouldn't want to be in a room of that. I guarantee you want to be as far away from that as possible. But so does God want you to be as far away from that. And he wants you to help others to be as far away from that. See, the thing is, he's created some in you, in both of you, a disdain for something that's irregular, that's not proper. He's made something in you to say, you know what, I can't get down with that. And the more you feed that part of you that says, I got to get away from that, the more you feed that, the stronger you become.
That's right.
More of a magnet you become for other young brothers. There's a lot that's going to be happening this spring. All of us know what the summertime brings in the hood.
I'm telling you.
We know what that brings right now. Everybody ain't going to make it.
That's right.
We know what's going to happen. So what's the buffer between them and them going somewhere and them being able to find their way out? That's us. We're the buffer. Because this is what we came when we banged, we did all that. We put our life, brother. You got shot, right? I didn't get shot. I was almost ended up being here. But we put ourselves in those situations. We put ourselves in those situations. We physically did that. We chose to do that. So we got hard. We ain't no punks. So all we have to do is now is tweak that and move it in another direction. And go with our brothers. Now brothers gonna be rough, they're gonna be hard, they're gonna be disrespectful, they're gonna be this because they don't know. Yeah. They're not in the mindset that you've come into, they're not in the mindset that we're in. You have to respect and understand that. See, when we decided to do the podcast, we were like, nah, man, we ain't finna be making this no preachy stuff. We ain't finna be high science in it. Anybody come in here trying to high science and try to tell us about how the world interflow with this and how this go upside, we're gonna be like, hey man, that's the other channel, homie. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, and let me say this real quick. I don't mean to cut you off, brother Shinobi. I want to get this while it's on my mind to the brothers. I remember before my son passed, right, when he was 17, he came to stay with me. Mm-hmm. Had my own spot. He said, Dad, I want to come stay with you, man. He kept saying that, man, I'm gonna come stay with you. And I told him, I said, yo, listen, man, you can come live with me, but I'm knowing I can't force him to come live with me. I ain't been there. So I can't just force you to, nigga, get in my crib. Nigga, you better come over. We passed that. So I would tell him, oh, hey, bro, whenever you ready to come live with me, come live with me. He finally got to the point where he was like, man, I don't want to be in my grandmama house. I don't want to be in my mama house. I don't want to, because at this time, man, I'm not even knowing a female I used to talk to. She called me out of nowhere. Me and her wasn't even messing around no more. She called me out of nowhere. She said, hey, man, you be talking to Sincere? And I was like, I ain't heard from him in a minute. She said, man, I be seeing him in the club. And I'm like, what club? And she said, grown club. Grown people club. She said he got an entourage. It'd be a lot of people around him. See, I'm from Highland Hills. I don't know if y'all ever heard of that, but yeah. So it's like, she's like, man, he pulling out loads of money. And I'm like, really? She like, yeah. And she said the dudes that he's with, these dudes is known jackers. These dudes, they killers. Like, you sure? She like, yes, man. She said, I kept looking at his face, and she said, I kept looking at him saying, damn, he looked for me. She said, where I know this dude from? And then she said she heard somebody say, Lil Winfrey. That's my name, Winfrey. So she said, that's Winfrey's son. And when she called me, I reached out to Brother Ben X. And me and Brother Ben X. I told him me and him in the same study group right now. And so I said, Brother Ben, I said, man, I didn't even have Instagram at this time. I said, man, I need to find my son. I need to find where he is. So Brother Ben said, just give me a couple of days. He came back the next day, like I got a tag on him. And man, my son came and moved with me. And I told him, I said, listen, you here. He wasn't in school or nothing. I'm like, man, you got to get back in school. I got him back in school. I had got him a little job at Foot Action. I'm a retro fanatic when it comes to J's. So I told him, I said, look, you got the job. You got all the plug on the J. I'm like, bro, bring the J's to the crib. Get the J's, homie. Well, he like, oh yeah, I got the plug. I'm like, yeah, keep your job, keep your little job, get back in school. He was going to, I got him back in the Dallas Ken. I said, man, you gonna go ahead and graduate or whatever, He like, yeah, I'm gonna do. So I'm like, yeah, go on, take care of your business. When he first moved to my spot, bro, he had been in the streets. He had been moving around the streets. He slept for cause I told him, I said, man, I'm gonna give you some time he said, man, Dad, I just need to give me some rest. So I'm like, all right. He literally slept for 3 or 4 days straight. I mean, he'll just get up, eat something, and then go right back to sleep. Because that's when you in them streets, your body is tired, bro. Your body, you moving around, you smoking weed, you popping pills, you doing this, you doing that, you drinking, you know what I'm saying? You having sex with this girl, that girl, you just moving around. Your body can't catch up. So when you finally settle down, you just crash out. And that's what happened. So I got him back into school, man. And he probably was at my house for a month and a half. And I was telling him, these are my rules to my house. Bro, don't have no dudes come to my crib. Don't have no girl come here. Daddy, what you mean? I can't bring my girl here? I said, hell no. Why I can't bring my girl here? Because she get to looking around while you pillow talking. She looking around seeing what she can take, or I don't know. What if she brings some dudes here? What if she looking around and she tells some dudes, oh yeah, this is where Lil Winfrey at over here.
Right.
This is a place for me and you. And I'm trying to explain it, telling them like, man, listen, this spot for me and you, man. This is where we get to let our guards down. When we at home, what's the most safest place for you to let your guards down? At your crib, at your house. You ain't trying to be, you know what I'm saying? When you at home, when you step out that door, I don't care how people try to say this and that, but when you step out your house and you moving around in the street, you ain't the same person as you is at home. You can't be. You got to switch. You got to switch your mindset because you got to be ready for whatever. You got to know, okay, you understand me? I got to be on point when I'm out here. You got to make sure that you ain't disrespecting nobody. You got to already have your stuff. And a lot of that I learned from the street, but a lot of that more I learned from being in the penitentiary. Just being able to see that, knowing that, man, you don't ever disrespect nobody. That's why in the teachings, in the Nation of Islam, it teaches us to think 5 times before we speak. Why? Because if you say something to somebody, if you call somebody a hoe ass nigga or something, man, you can lose your life for that.
There's no take back.
There ain't no take back for that. And that's really the ultimate disrespect. When you say hoe ass nigga, oh man, you gotta come on with it.
You ain't lying about that.
You feel me? So it's like you already knowing this. And so I'm teaching my son, I always letting him know, listen, son, woo, woo, woo. I even showed him my brotherhood. I introduced him to Brother Ben, all my brotherhood in the nation. I went and I told him, I said, hey, come, I'm gonna be speaking and I'm gonna be saying what Islam have done for me. He's seen me behind the podium speak. I introduced him to my minister and all that. And my son was like, man, that's whack. Man, I ain't with none of that. I said, that's fine. That's fine. But I'm saying all this to say this, young brothers. I started looking at myself saying, damn, he's saying all this is boring. When he came move with me, I was at work. I come home, all his stuff gone. He didn't left. He got all his stuff booked, all his stuff up and left. So I'm calling him and trying to figure out where he at. I call his mama, say, where Lil Winfrey that? She said, he ain't at your house? I'm like, no. She like, let me call around and see where this boy at. I didn't hear from my son for like 6 months after that. Like, I didn't see him. I didn't hear from him or nothing. He just up and pop and called me 6 months later talking about, Daddy, what's up with it? I said, say, man, nah, you got to clean that up, homie. You don't leave my spot like that. Being a young man, if you got a problem, you face a man and you tell him his ways that you tell him, hey, Dad, I don't want to be here no more, this and that. You don't turn your back and just jet. You don't do that. So I was trying to teach him principles, morals. He left. But I'm saying all that to say this. By my actions, I thought I was doing the right thing. And I'm like, damn, how can I get this man to see this and that? When my son came out of surgery, when he started talking, when we got an opportunity to sit down and talk, this is what broke me down and made me cry, because he told me, said, Daddy, everything that you ever told me, you was right. He said, you was right. I should have listened. I cried because it was days where I felt like I couldn't get through him. But really, I was getting through to him. He knew. He knew the things I was telling him was serious. He knew everything I was saying was right. And he told me that. And I said, I appreciate that, son. I thank you. I really needed to hear that. He said, Daddy, you was right the whole time. You was right. You was telling me right. He said, you was telling me right. I was out there living that life, man. And everything that you was saying to me, he said, when I was in that trap, when I was selling dope, when I was shooting at dudes and dudes were shooting at me, I would lay down at night and hear your words. He said, I just was too much in my pride to call you and tell you how much you was right.
And that happens.
So I want y'all to understand that where y'all at right now, you don't have to see, a lot of people say that experience is the best teaching, but it's not. Taking heed to someone else's experience is the best teaching. Just because if I touch the stove and you see me get burned, you don't have to experience that to know that shit, this shit is real. You can look for me and learn from me and say, damn, homie, big homie didn't burnt his hand. So what is that telling you in your mind? Don't touch it. So let my son be a warning to you. That's the hot stove. He's no longer with us no more. But I told my son, I said, I got us from here on out. He said, Dad, if I don't make it, man, I said, listen, I got us from here on out. No matter what stage I hit, no matter how far I go, you're going to live right here with me. And that's what's been happening. He passed September the 13th, 2022. It hurt me. It's still fresh. It hurt me, man. And I still struggle with it. But at the same time, what gives me strength is seeing y'all. It's seeing y'all, man. It's seeing y'all. Don't worry about what them niggas gonna say out there. Oh, you didn't turn this and that. Don't worry about a female want to see you street. Because the real OGs, the real street dudes, I'm telling you, the real street dudes get out the way, man. That's what sidewalks for. We on the sidewalk.
Right.
Ain't no more being in the street. That's what sidewalks for. Yeah, we proud to be on the sidewalk because dudes that's walking on the sidewalk, they got longevity. They make it, man. Dudes that want to stay in the street get cut down.
Wait.
So I just wanted to let y'all, I wanted to tell y'all that, man, why that was on my mind.
I need.
Mm-hmm.
We appreciate you, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's why to meet it's like
I would like to meet in person too.
Yeah, for sure. That's gonna happen.
And and that's why MeetTheFOI podcast is important. But this is not going to be like anybody else's podcast. This is really having people to just put it out there. You know what I'm saying? Putting it out there don't make you weak, don't make you any of that. It's therapy. You brothers need therapy, but I mean, I ain't gonna say go lay up on some table and tell somebody tell your business, but you need the therapy that's gonna make you really value even the worst parts of your life and understand how to now use that to help other people while you're helping yourself. And then surrounding yourself around people that's going to sharpen you. If you surround yourself around people that's not going to sharpen you, then you know where that's going to take you. You know what I'm saying? That's going to challenge you to be who, it's always good when someone else sees you and they think the greatest thing of you versus someone who sees you and they don't think nothing of you other than what they can get from you. And that's the important thing with that. So I really, especially when your mom, everything happens for a reason. When your mom told me, hey, they talking about doing the podcast, because they were talking about doing the podcast too. I think it was not last Sunday. The Sunday was that Sunday? It was one of those. I don't know. It was Sunday. One of those days.
Yeah,
she was like, the equipment and all. I was like, and as soon as I heard them, I'm like, I would love to see you work with us, especially since we know we're going to be hitting the streets, especially since we know we're going to be targeting different, groups. That's going to be important. And that's going to be something that's going to allow us to grow because everybody's meant to be in each other's lives at a certain time. There's things that happen mathematically for a particular reason. There are no mistakes in this process. There are no coincidences. There's none of that. And so at this point, it's time for us to build things and attract people. Find those young brothers that need to have that right direction. Follow the same lead that you follow. You know what I'm saying? It's time that we show older brothers how to talk to younger brothers. That's the other problem. A lot of older brothers don't know how to talk. They think that you owe them something and they have done nothing, right? They don't know how to talk to you. None of the conversation, hopefully, that we've had with you or any conversation that I've ever had with you made you feel like you was somebody like, man, this dude talking down on me. He disrespected me. You know what I'm saying? Because our hope is that we present in a way where we man to man. You know what I'm saying? You're going to understand. If you don't, you're going to say, hey, man, I don't get that. And I'm going to be like, all right, cool. This is what I meant. And vice versa. And so that's what's going to change things. We have to show people how to reach young brothers. It's no everybody's talking about how we're gonna get to the youth. They're not listening. It ain't like this in my day. It was like this in your day. You gave birth to these. That's why it's like this. Stop saying it wasn't like that. It is like that. You just don't know how to communicate to them, right? You think they're foreigners. You think there's some foreign agent or something. This podcast is going to help brothers in the nation that deal with a lot of brothers in the street. It's going to help brothers who not in the nation who are trying to connect with people on the street. That's what our mission is. We're gonna utilize this podcast to reach people, to turn their minds in the right direction, right? To help them make that decision that they need to make to go in the right direction. So I appreciate it that you guys came on here, right? I appreciate it. Now we're gonna end up chopping this up and pushing this out because I only intended for us to be on here for like 30 minutes and then we was gonna like, yeah.
You know,
Y'all can't hear still?
it was good.
The conversation when you say an hour.
Yeah.
I thought, I mean, because like I said, this is why this is important. People are often slow to things, so don't let that fool you. Everything begins with a small number, and then but it's consistency that makes it work, right? You know what I'm saying? You got the blacksmith who's making a fine sword, that's going to be the proper weight and that's going to cut a certain way. He ain't hitting it 4 or 5 times and saying, "Here you go." Man, he got to beat that thing over and over and put it
right. That's
pull it
right.
out again, put it in the fire. It is a long process, but because of consistency and over time, he gets so used to doing it that he's not even thinking about how much work it goes into doing it. He's just doing it, and he bang. The next guy come back and say, "That look easy. I can do that. That ain't nothing." Then he get in there and realize that swing of that swing to hit that piece of metal ain't so easy, is it? Then he just give up. I can't do this. So proper guidance, brothers. Proper guidance. That's all we all need. And we'll be here for you. And I just want you, to work with us because I think the best way for us to be proper guides is that we're working together.
That's right.
Dialogue. That you're understanding the moves and we're understanding your moves. That's what's going to help you. So you've been coming out to the mosque. You've been coming. You got out there. We came in last night. Yesterday, whatever. He came last night. Remember, the minister was talking about the manifestation of defects, basically.
Yes, sir.
Right? The stuff that has to come out. Right? And we're going to help people bring it out, and we're going to help them to process it. We're going to help them to move forward. So, with all that being said, we're going to cut this one. But what we always do when we cut it, we basically get everybody to say something, the last words, some advice they want to give. Now, this advice, even from you, Kevin, and IG, it's your advice to anybody that's watching it. Not my advice, it's yours, because I'm going to give my own advice. So we're going to start with you, Kevin. What's your advice to any young brother or any person out there that's watching this, that will eventually watch this? What kind of advice you want to give them?
My advice that I would want to give them is, I could say, as far as like, I could say, you ain't gotta be a person that you ain't really is to be around people, or you ain't gotta be a street dude, or what they say, a street nigga. You ain't gotta be a street nigga to be around a certain type of situation. You could be a man. You ain't gotta ain't yourself to nobody. You ain't gotta be out here shooting guns and doing all that to be cool and be that guy. You could be your own self, So that's what my message to go back to whoever listening.
That's right.
Brother, yes, sir. Brother Winfrey, because I know when Nigel get in that room, he gonna get his turn. Brother
Winfrey. My last words, man, is be patient with yourself. Give yourself an opportunity. Even when you strive to be a better version of yourself, you're still gonna have trials and tribulations. You can't avoid that. You're not gonna be able to avoid trials and tribulations. But when you're striving to be the best part of yourself, when those trials and tribulations come, you'll be able to handle them a lot better. You'll be able to, find solutions to those problems, you know, that you're having, and it may take time, because you know, I'll be the first person to raise my hand and say, you know, it's heavy trials that I go through, and it takes time. You know, you may not see a sign. God may not send you any sign, but you just have to continue to believe, and you have to continue to understand that the things that you've already experienced and all the things that you've come from, one thing that we know, two things is going to happen. It's either you're going to be a part of the problem or you're going to be a part of the solution. There is no in between. It's either you're a part of the problem or you're a part of the solution, period.
Where's Najee? He think he's slick. He think he gonna get away from this. And there he is. There he is. Najee, give me the words of wisdom, big bro.
Yeah, what I want to just say is, you know, don't let your past hold you back from doing whatever you got to do in the future.
Like brother, how you say it? I don't want to miss
Winford, brother Winford.
Like Brother Winford said, not all pain is punishment. So, you know, like that one really stuck with me. So I just want to say, you know, not all pain is punishment. Don't let your pain or your past make you feel like, you know, like you don't like you're not acceptable for this world, or you're not acceptable to do something. You know, you know, life is just about lessons. You know, it's just obstacles. You know, it's not no L's that you're taking. It's just lessons. So yeah, you just gotta hold it down. That's all.
Already. So what's up?
For me, my advice to people basically is this. You know, you have to be sincere with this. You know, you really, two things that are the primary focuses of the podcast. The only reason I wanted to even start it was the fact that it had to be about self-improvement and it had to be about personal accountability. That those two things sound simple, but those things are very difficult things to go through and to process and to work with. But you are able to do that, and that's self-improvement. That's self-improvement.
There it is.
The important thing is doing it with others who are willing to work with you in that process. You can't have there are times you sit there with God and you communicate with God and work it, but then God does want you to get your butt out here and connect with those and sharpen your tools and put them to test. You can't know that it's the truth unless you test it.
That's right.
I said, or somebody else said, you can't know that the process works unless you test it, right? You can't,
Right.
None of that works. You can't say, oh, self-improvement is going to do this. How do you know that? How do you know atonement? How do you know accountability is going to really be X, Y, Z? You don't know that. I mean, you've only experienced the other side. You know what's over there. You only assume what's on the other side. So part of it is just testing it and working it for yourself so that you can make it part of you. So as we move forward, I want to be able to sit back in 6 months to a year from now and hear Najee and Kevin talking to a room of 100, 200, 300 young brothers, and they're saying, look, man, they got their swag, they moving across, they dropping it, they moving it, and people like, whoa, 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 and they feeling it. That will prove to me that you guys are testing to see if self-improvement really works, to see if personal accountability really works, because you'll put yourself in that position. And the more you put yourself in those positions, the more you're going to be working. The more the light shines on you, the more you got to do, the more you got to work. These podcasts, what they do, they put the spotlight on me. If I'm at the club sipping on a drink, or even at the club, first of all, if I'm up against something, if I'm doing things that I'm saying one thing, guarantee we in the world of social media now, the truth teller. Somebody go by, here he is. Winford, same way, you same way. So there are things that we have to put upon ourselves over time that we learn to kind of keep ourselves in check. But we just know that we work on ourselves. We're not perfect. We may slip and dip a little here and there, but we focus. We use each other to stay on track. So I do appreciate you young brothers, man. Brother Winford had me. Brother Winford was ruining it for me a hot personal second. Like, you youngsters, I'm like, hold on, man. Hold on, stop saying it. Hold on, if you saying it, then I got to be saying it. Oh, no. Well, I'm going to hear that youngsters.
Hey, but you know what though? Hey, you know what though, man? I mean, cause life really fly by so fast, man. I'm telling you, life is a blur. I remember when they were calling me youngster when I was in the joint. You know, I went in at 19, now I'm 41 years old. I've been out 8 years, but at the same time, it's just like, damn, I can remember when I was being called a youngster. When I'm running around the penitentiary, everybody like, damn, youngster look like he about 13 years old, man. You know what I'm saying? And now here it is, I'm 41 years old, and it's like, you know what I'm saying? I find myself saying them words youngster without even trying, you know, not trying to say it. You feel me? So
yeah. But it's all good though, man. We family, you know what I'm saying? So
Max.
So Kevin, I know you got work this weekend. You gonna be at the mall Sunday?
Sunday, was it Sunday night or Sunday?
Sunday night. I mean Sunday. No. The regular meeting, the 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock Sunday. No, me and brother Nigel actually be at work because we work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 12-hour shifts.
Okay, so I'll end up. Well, we'll be, and then we'll talk about the other stuff as far as Monday, as far as that, because I think that's the thing you need to be going into. Nigel need to go in there, so we'll get that all squared away, and then we'll work it. We got it, and then you, Winfred. What we're gonna do is probably by next week figure out how we're gonna collaborate so all of us can get together. So we all get together and next week. But we're gonna plan to get together next week by a certain day. Talk to Winfred. I already know you work on the weekend, so we're gonna figure it out. We'll work it out and we're gonna make that happen.
Okay.
All right, cool.
All right, big brothers. Assalamu alaikum. You guys be safe, man.
All right, Walaikum salam.
Salam.
Mm-hmm.